Okay, it's Laura again. It's the Laura show.
And this is our 2011 Human Service Fund recommendation. Next month, we will bring forward the alcohol tax. These are an annual look each year. When we go through the annual budget process, we include a contribution to the Human Service Fund that comes out of the legislative budget in the general fund. Once the allocations are made and approved in the annual budgets, then the UCS board looks at the monies that have been allocated by all the participating cities. They review the applications that they have for programs and services, and then they make recommendations on how to divvy up their funds for 2011 between those agencies. Human Service Fund agencies target nonprofit agencies whose programs address two fundamental priorities: building economic self-reliance for families and individuals, and then protecting personal and community safety. And included in the packet, along with the agencies and the funding recommended, were the criteria that the UCS board and their committee uses to fund and consider each of the programs that they fund. For 2011, there were 13 cities in Johnson County who committed funds. The city admissions allocation in the 2011 budget was $6,090. They then, once they have allocated funding to the agencies, they like for the governing bodies to review those. They give you the opportunity to say, we agree or disagree with your funding priorities, and then to adopt these by December 31st. And if you have any changes, we communicate those back, and then they would not allocate any portion of our funding to those programs which you might not be supportive of.
Can I ask a quick question that deviates from what you're talking about? Can you tell me how I can get to page 239 without having to go to the next page? I've done the Alt 239 to go to like page 239, and I find and I'm not doing it. So it's something I'm doing wrong, probably.
Martha.
See how at the bottom I've got 239 and find? Sorry.
Well, it's interesting because I was at Head Start meeting this morning, and they told me that they had 218 kids in their program, and this only lists 150. So I called Head Start to see where they got their information, and she said, well, needless to say, their information on here is a little bit outdated.
Okay.
And the one what we've got.
Yeah, so that concerns me a little bit. I think some of the giving is lopsided when you've got $67,000 to one fund and $6,700 to another fund.
How much is going to Head Start?
$7,500.
So in other words,
$67,000.
Catholic Charities is getting $67,500. I think some of these people are calling council people and elected officials to go take tours of these.
I've been called.
And it was really very informative. And, you know, and I was surprised when I saw this, so I called her and she said, well, needless to say, they're a little outdated because they have 218 and they have a waiting list of 300. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Any questions? John?
Well, no, I
mean, this is
did.
the-
I left it home. I had that whole pamphlet, and it's quite interesting. But when I look at some of the other surrounding cities, give 2,000, 3,000, and I'm thinking, you know, for our population at that time, we, I guess, decided 6,000. But you show me one charity right now that isn't hurting.
No, that's true.
Every single one of them's hurting out there. And the people are hurting too that are trying to keep up with some of these things. So I don't know. I mean, I know a lot of it goes to a good cause, but also it'd be nice to know some of these, what percentage that's actual contributed goes to the cause and the rest of it goes to overhead. Because I've dealt with that years ago, and it's amazing how some areas that 60, 70, 80% goes to overhead.
That's true.
and